Hi and welcome to Shrav's classes. Today we are going to be solving some questions on mathematical reasoning. You can contact us via WhatsApp or direct calling us at the number given on the screen. Let's see our first question. What percent of 112 is 14? Since this is a percent problem, you can solve this by thinking in terms of part by whole ratio. In this case, part by whole equals to 14 by 112, which is equals to x by 100. Now upon cross multiplying, we get 112x equals to 1400, or x equals to 1400 by 112. Thus x equals to 12.5. Like most percent questions in this format, you can also find the answer using POE. 14 is a little bigger than 1 by 10 or 10% of 112 or 11.2 to be exact. Thus 10%, so our answer which is just above 10% will be the answer, that is 12.5. Moving on to the next question. The number of flights leaving a certain airport doubles during every 1 hour period between 9 am and noon. After noon, the number of flights leaving from the airport doubles every 2-hour period. If 4 flights left from airport between 9 and 10 am, how many flights left the airport between 2 and 4 pm? Rather than to rely on the high school style exponential growth formulas, let's just count this one out. Although that method is okay, but it takes lots of time. Now, if 4 flights left the airport between 9 and 10 am, then 8 flights left between 10 to 11 am and 16 flights between 11 to 12 noon. Starting at noon, the flights begin to double every 2 hours. So 32 flights left between 12 to 2 and 64 flights left between 2 to 4 pm. Thus the correct answer is option number C. If you choose option number E, you may have forgotten to account for the afternoon change in the rate of increase, and the test writers of course made sure that the answer you came up with was there waiting for you, and that's how the normal mistakes happen. So make sure your answer is correct, and this is the most error-free and the fastest way to get our answer in during this format of the examinations. Let's see another type. Chris's convertible gets gas mileage that is 40% greater than that of Stan's SUV. If Harry's hatchback gets gas mileage that is 15% greater than that of Chris's convertible, then Harry's hatchback gets gas mileage that is what percent greater than that of Stan's SUV. This is a simple plugging in problem. Since it's a percent problem and the question asks us to find a percentage greater than the mileage of Stan's SUV, let's make Stan's mileage as 100. Thus Chris's mileage is, let's write Chris over here, thus Chris's mileage is 140. 15% of 140 is equals to 21. So Harry's, let's write his name down so that it becomes easier to relate. Harry's mileage is 161, which is 140 plus 21. Thus 161 is 61% greater than 100, and the correct answer is option number D. Answer choices A and C are both traps, since they are simple addition and subtraction respectively of the numbers in the problem. If you got B, that is 46%, you might have probably increases mileage by 15% of 40 rather than 15% of 140, and thus option number D is the correct answer. Let's see another question. X is equals to 1 more than the product of 3 and Z, and Y is equals to 1 when less than the product of 2 and Z. Then 2x is how much greater than 3y when Z is 4. Now let's start by translating the two original equations, that is x equals to 3z plus 1 and y equals to 2z minus 1. Now if z is equals to 4, then x is equals to 13 when we put these values in this equation, and when y is equals to 7, then 2x is thus 26 and 3y is thus 21. The difference between the two values is thus 5. So the correct answer is option number D. If you choose A, you might have mistakenly added when the problem asked for a product. If you got E, you may have solved for x minus y when the problem asks for 2x minus 3y. And if you got C, well, then you have done both of these problems. Bob leaves point A and drives due west to point B. Now from point B he drives due south to point C. How far is Bob from his original location? We also have two statements where point A is 24 miles from point B and point B is 18 miles from point C. Since this is a geometry problem without a diagram, we should always start by drawing one of our own. Let's draw a triangle. Yes, my drawing is a bit on the untidy side, but well, you get the point. In this case, your diagram should look something like this, or maybe a little better. Therefore, statement 1 tells us that the length of one side of our triangle, that is the distance from A to B, is 24 miles. Since we know we have a right triangle because Bob drove due west and then due west and then due south, any two sides would be enough to find the remaining side. And if we knew that we had a special right triangle, one side might be enough. Neither of this case applies though, so we are down to B, C and E. That is, we can cancel out A and D. Statement 2, that is point B is 18 miles from point C, gives us again another side. Remember, though we can no longer consider the information from statement 1, so this statement alone is also insufficient. Thus, we are down to C and E. When we put the two statements together, we know we could solve for the remaining side using the Pythagoras or the Pythagorean theorem. Although since this is a data sufficiency question, there is no reason we would do so. So the correct answer would be option number C, where both statements together are sufficient but neither statement alone is sufficient. Option C is thus cancelled anyhow, because we need both the statement, and together they are sufficient. With this, we come to an end of another great video. Please like, subscribe and click on the notification button to remain in touch with us. You can also WhatsApp or call at the given number for any doubts, queries or for full videos on our courses.